This is the ultimate leader tier list for Ara History Untold. And before we jump into this, there are a few things I have to talk about. First things first, this is a two-part video. It takes far too long, like even one part will be quite lengthy. And so I split it up in two parts. The first part will start with the Abbasid Caliphate and will end with Greece. The second part will start with the Holy Roman Empire and then, of course, will end with Zulu. The second thing I have to talk about is I hate tier lists. I think they are not good for a game. They add a lot of negativity to some interesting gameplay mechanics and makes it so that a lot of people do not think outside of the box or not just try something. So personally, I'm very much against tier lists. Okay, why are you doing this then, Mo? Well, because a lot of you folks have been asking for actually tier lists with rational numbers, and I just try to oblige. So that's what we are doing here. Third thing, if you don't want to listen to this, good news, there is a tier list down below in the video description will show you all the tiers from S, A, B, C, and D, with D being the lowest. And this time, I promise you, I have not forgotten it because I have already created this list before I actually made this video, so that is already ready. But with that said, keep in mind there is a list down below, but definitely listen to why I choose to put the leaders into their perspective tier ranks. With that said, let's jump right into it because this will take a while. The first is the Abbasid Caliphate, and what I will do is I will read the special perk completely and then I would just name the general perks. And how those tier lists are coming together is pretty simple. We take the special perk and then we are also adding the general perks on how good they are. And this is basically what transforms into the tier. Also, how feasible that really is in gameplay terms. So, we have the House of Wisdom. Academies provide 2+ research per turn. Research agreements provide 10% research. Charismatic, traditional, charitable. Here's a C. Unfortunately, because the numbers are too low. Academies provide 2 research per turn. Oh, great. So instead of having 15 research per turn, you are now creating 70 research, and you can only build 1 academy per city, so this is not really great. And the research agreements, we are talking about like small numbers. You have research agreements with 10, 15, 18 research, and you are getting 10% more. So that means you are getting what? 1 or 2 research more per turn from those agreements, even if you have multiple ones. It doesn't really add up too much, and the perks are also relatively meh. They're just better characters which can do things so much better than Haroon can, which is really unfortunate. We have Argentina with Share My Glory. Your palace provides 25 city prosperity and 25 health. Your monument provides 25 city happiness and 25 prosperity, 20% build production towards amphitheaters, theaters, and opera houses, and all each provide 15+ city happiness, independent, steadily, charismatic, persuasive. She is a B because this is crazy. Like, Share My Glory is really strong. Yes, you can only build 1 palace, you can only build 1 monument, and the same goes for the later items. But this is all adding up, and those are some really high numbers, plus the general perks are really good. So she is focusing on keeping her cities happy without you needing too much resources for amenities. So you can just use the resources for something else, and this is what makes her this good. Yes, later on it takes a little bit to get to all those buildings, but it's totally worth it, and this is why she is a B. We have the Assyrian Empire, Wolf on the Fold, 33% force siege damage, 25% craft production at workshops, 25 security in your capital, disciplined, aggressive, unyielding, rash, productive. He is a B, which borderlines on a C. And the only reason why he is a B, the rash, not great, but this is only in your capital, so you can work around that. but the general perks are really good, especially productive is great. But this is really what turns this around. The 25% craft production at workshops. Workshops are one of the buildings you have quite a bit in your empire. Like, they're one of the main buildings to keep you afloat. And having a 25% craft production plus here is just insane. The rest doesn't really matter that much. But this one is just making him this good. Howard Florey, Australia, medical genius. University and fusion research centers provide +2 research per term. 25 craft production towards crafting bandages, soap, and antibiotics. Speaking of which, they also provides 5 health, 10 health, and 30 health later on. He has collaborative, steadily, innovative, sage, pacifist. He is an S rank. He is our first S rank. Why? He is absolutely insane to keep your cities healthy and to make them grow. I think Howard Florey is the leader which is the easiest to get 35 plus cities and who can reach that very quickly. Because keep in mind, you can craft a lot of the buildings which can craft the bandages, soap, and antibiotics, so you can have them in a lot of quantity. And again, you can give this to all your cities. Those are some really big health boosts. And yes, it's only 2 research per turn, so this is not too big. But this is in itself already a B to A rank. But then having collaborative, steadily, innovative, and sage on top of that, which gives you some huge research boosts, is just insane. And this is why he is an S rank. But Mole, he is a pacifist. Yeah, 10% minus to forces outside of your city or your territory is like, whatever. You can play around that, and it's not too much of a big deal. Then we have Itzacuatl, the Aztec Empire, Flower Wars. 25 security and 25 happiness in your capital for 10 turns after engaging in combat. 100% force heal rate, disciplined, aggressive, perfectionist, spiritual. He's a C. Actually, if he wouldn't have the 100% force heal rate, he's a D. But he has that, so he is a C. This doesn't really matter. Like, in your capital, and only capital, if this would be in every city, he would be a B, for sure. But only in your capital, after you engage in combat, that's rough. Perfectionist is absolutely ass. I think this is one of the biggest debuffs you can get. And it doesn't really justify for the rest he has. So, unfortunately, the only thing which keeps him into a C ranking is the force heal rate, which technically you don't even need. Like, if you are in your territory, you are already healing quite quickly. So this is only really helpful if you are super aggressive and far away from your territories. But again, highly debatable how useful this really is. Leopold I, Belgium, Nestor of Europe, 10 plus established relationship with other nations. 20 plus additional established relationship with other nations if you have fewer cities than them. 100% harvest production at farms harvesting cocoa. Breweries and distilleries provide +10 city prosperity. Independent, adventurous, efficient, charismatic. Leopold is a B, but only because of his general perks, and he is borderlining a C. Unfortunately, he is not very great. Like, the first 2 things don't really matter. This established relationship thing, like, everybody hates each other anyways, so what's really the deal? Like, it doesn't really do much, and yeah, sorry. He is not really utilizing this to be friends with others, and so this unfortunately doesn't do much. Then we have 100% harvest production at farms harvesting cocoa. That's good. That's really good, especially if you have cocoa around you, and, well, that's not necessarily a given, so this might be completely useless for you. But nonetheless, if you have that, having 100% harvest production is always nice to have, and cocoa is rather useful. It's not super good. It's also not super bad. It's like mediocre at best, right? And then we have breweries and distilleries provide 10 plus city prosperity. Keep in mind, you can only build 3 of them nationwide. So it's like, I think it increases a little bit later on, but this is not too much as if this will make a big impact. Like, even if you could build 6 of them and you have 6 cities, you would build basically a brewery in one of the each city to get 10 plus city prosperity. Uh, That's that's not really great, and especially when we are talking about some other leaders who also work with prosperity, and they are just outgunning him by a long shot, right? It's insane. So why do I say he's still a B? It's because of independent, efficient. Efficient is just so good. Like, efficient in itself is a B perk or even an A perk, depending on the other things you have. So his general perks are saving him. But again, I would put him really on the border of becoming a C, because this is not really great. And this is the only thing which is saving him. B. The Byzantine Empire. Iconofire altars, monasteries, and shrines provide 20 plus city security and 4 plus wealth per turn, 100% effectiveness of oracles and missionaries, independent, aggressive, patient, unyielding, spiritual. She is an A rank. She is clearly an A rank, and the reason for that is, yes, you can only build 1 altar, 1 monastery, and 1 shrine, and the perks you are getting from that is like, it's nice to have. The wealth is always nice, but for wealth is not really too noticeable, especially later on in the city security is But 100% effectiveness of oracles and missionaries, plus also having spiritual, like, you can really sure you are spreading your religion. And keep in mind, religion is super powerful. So if you are playing it right and other leaders do not cut you off from their borders, you can also spread the whole religion very quickly over the continent you on, or over the area. Like, you can get so many people being for your religion that it is crazy how many perks you will get. Where other leaders have like 5 religion perks slash versus, you will already have 15. Like, it is insane how much you can do with this. And yes, patient is a debuff, but the 50% war declaration cost doesn't matter too much. Boudica, the Celts, Lady of Vengeance, 33 force strength while in a retaliation war. Force inflicts 5 war weariness when they defeat an enemy force. Collaborative, formidable, unyielding, persuasive. She is a C, unfortunately. This is too much preparation and too much what if. Keep in mind, you have to be in a retaliation war. That means you have to had attack somebody first, or somebody had to declare war on you first, and then after 20 turns, you can start a retaliation war. And then this is nice, but again, who wants to get attacked first, right? Or if you were attacking somebody else, you really want to get something out of the war, so you don't necessarily want to come back. And if you come back after 20 turns, then chances are pretty high you have already decimated the enemy quite a bit. And this is all like, yeah, whatever. And forces inflict 5 war weariness when they defeat an enemy force. Yeah, that's also not a big deal. And the perks are okay. Collaborative is pretty strong, but the rest is A-okay. So unfortunately, she is a C. Wilma Mankiller, the word for water, 100% or 150 build production of percent towards water wells and water treatment plants. Water wells and water treatment plants provide 20 plus city health, 25% craft production towards crafting feasts. Independent, sage, traditional. She is a C, borderlining hard on a D. Like, if somebody would say me, nah, well, that's a D, I would agree. Like, I would actually put her into a D, but her general perks are pretty good for what they're doing, so this is why she borderlines the C and D ranking, but this is useless. Like, the production towards wells and water treatments, you can only build once, and they don't take that long. Water wells and water treatment plants provide 20 plus city health is nice, but again, it's just one building. And the craft production towards feasts. Feasts are so easy to produce. Keep in mind, they're the first thing you produce, and they're never really a problem. So this is actually completely useless, and this is why she is more D than a C candidate. Sorry. Wu Zetian, China. Imperial examinations, libraries, schools, and their upgrades provide 15 city prosperity, 10+% paragon spawn chance, formidable, cunning, unyielding, charismatic. She's a B. Not so much because of the libraries and the perks, like that would be more like a C rank, but a 10% paragon spawn chance every turn to the paragon spawn chances you can already manipulate a little bit through some other perks, buildings, and all that is insane. You can have so many strong paragons that at some point you can basically just use paragons to put them into your armies because you have so many of them. Again, insane, and this is what makes her a B. Oshtish, the Crow Nation. Bait Warrior, 1 4 speed and 1 side for settlers, mounted scouts, hakebusiers, and dragoons. 33, craft production at artisan studios, weavers, and their upgrades. Formidable, efficient, charismatic, traditional. Here's an A, borderlining on an S. Why? Well, he is an A because this is whatever. Like, this is not too important. Yes, the 4 speed and sight, especially for hakebusiers and dragoons, is a really nice thing, but they are also losing their strength later on, so it's really debatable how good this is. But 33 craft production at artisans, weavers in particular, like, you can use weavers quite a bit to boost your cities, and also if you have water around, this is really important for your ships. Plus, keep in mind, he has efficient. This is another 20% craft production to all crafting improvements. So you have 20 craft production on all improvements, plus 33 on artisan studios and weavers. So you are at 35% for those buildings. That is insane. That is so fast. It is absolutely insane. And the rest is also pretty good. This is why he is an A. And again, is borderlining the S part. Nefertiti, Egypt, Race of the Aden. Farms and their upgrades provide an additional 1+ food per turn if placed in regions adjacent to a river. 25 minus research cost of religion technologies. Museums provide 10 city happiness. Agrarian, lavish, persuasive, spiritual. Unfortunately, she is a C. Why is that? Her perks are really good, but they are also weird mix and match. The problem here is this is literal. You are getting literal 1 extra food on your farms. Like at the beginning, when you only get 8 or 16 food out of the farm, that might be kind of good. But later on, when you make 83 food or 100 food from a farm, then this doesn't matter anymore. The same goes for agrarian. You're getting just 1 food more. So in total, you're producing 2 more food from your farms. Like, it's like, what? Like, and also, it has to be adjacent to a river to proc, which is like another prerequisite I do not understand. The 25% research minus cost on religion technologies is nice. This is why you also have spiritual, but you don't really do much with it. And it's like, again, we just established that the Byzantine Empire is so much better for this. So, and the museum, you can build 1 museum 10 happiness is not really turning this around. Sorry, she is a C. Elizabeth the First, England. Gloriana, 1 force speed and 1 sight for sea forces, 25% force strength for sea forces, longbowmen and line infantry cannot be countered, independent, stately, mercantile, seafaring. She is an A or a D. Wait, what? Yeah, if you have water and you can actually utilize the oceans quite a bit, she is an A. No questions. If she doesn't have any oceans because you decided not to have any water or not really like big water masses on your planet, then she is a D because this is completely useless. And the longbowman and line infantry is getting replaced after Act 2. And between Act 2 and the end of Act 2, like, this is really strong. Not being able to be countered by certain units is definitely a strong perk. But again, it will fall off and it's not available in the first era as well. And the first act. Sorry, not era. Act. So this is like, yeah, okay, but this is really strong. Like, especially the 25% force strength for sea forces is really strong. Mercantile is always nice to have. Seafaring is 5+ wealth from fishing nets. Keep in mind, a sea tile is giving you a baseline of 4 wealth. So that means you can put down 2 fishing nets, which will add an additional 10 wealth in total. So you will have 14 wealth coming from 1 sea tile. She is definitely one of the very few leaders where sea tiles can make you a shit ton of money, and you shouldn't miss out on it. It's as simple as that. Next is Ethiopia. Lion of Judah, 5% force strength for each alliance you're in, 25+ religion spread strength in your capital, 300% harvest production towards harvesting coffee, disciplined, formidable, sage, spiritual. He is unfortunately a C rank. I see what they tried to do here with him, but they kind of failed on it on a gameplay perspective. So first things first, the 5% force strength for each alliance you're in, and then not giving this dude anything which is increasing the strength with other nations like Belgium has, right? It's like so weird. So getting to an alliance is really hard work, and you might at best get 5 or 10% more force strength out of this. Again, at best, or this might not be active at all. The 25 religion spread strength with spiritual together, that makes it 40%, right? Is nice, but this is just for your capital. So that means the further you're going away from your capital, the more this will be lower, and then at some point it will not be active at all anymore, and it's not really that great. The 300% harvest production towards harvesting coffee is actually really good if you have coffee around, right? But coffee is something you're using quite a bit, but that's the only thing, and that's not really too great. Like, it's still relatively inconsequential. The other perks are fine, but unfortunately he is a C. Jeanne d'Arc for France, Maid of Orleans, 25% force strength in cities where your religion is dominant, 1+ force speed within your territory. Your forces reduce your war wariness by 5 when they defeat an enemy forces. Impulsive, formidable, persuasive, spiritual. She is a B, but most of the time a C. She is a C if she cannot spread her religion. Like, impulsive is not important. That doesn't really do much. And the rest is fine. Right, the war wariness is being reduced by 5 when defeated enemy force is always nice to have, so you can really drag it out. The force speed within your territory can be really good for defense. But again, if you don't manage to spread your religion and you're only getting spiritual for that, this is such a hard thing to prepare. It's too much work for what you are getting out of it in the end. And this is why I have to say, sorry, you're a C. Like, a B if you can make it work, but most of the time you will be a C. Tamar the Great, Georgia, whom the sum serves 25% build production towards military, religion, and commerce improvement, 15 plus city prosperity, and 10 plus city security in all cities during golden ages, independent, formidable, sage, creative. She is an A. She is an A because those are 3 out of 6 improvement you can have, right? There's also farms, which is impact, I think they call it. And then, of course, you have the government buildings, and you have the social improvements. So you have 3 out of 6, which you will build 25% faster, which is always nice to have, right? You're getting city prosperity and city security in all cities during golden ages, which is nice to have. You don't really have anything which is giving you golden ages faster or longer, so unfortunately it loses a little bit of the nice to have perk. But the rest of the perks are really strong, like Sage and Creative is always good. Independent is also nice to have. So this is why I give her an A. She is pretty straightforward. You know exactly what you are getting. And what she is doing well. And that is important. Otto von Bismarck, Germany. Blood and Iron, 10% craft production at forges, factories, vehicle factories, and their upgrades. 25 force strength for 10 turns after declaring a war. Disciplined, aggressiveness, persuasive, practical. He is a B, and I would actually borderline in on a C. What? Why? This is insane. No, it isn't really when you were thinking about it. 10% craft production at forges, factories, and vehicle factories. Keep in mind, even forges are not coming in before the Renaissance, right? So you have to wait for the Renaissance, which is middle of Act, well, actually closer to the end of Act 2, and then you are getting 10% craft production. Keep in mind, we talked about efficient, which gives you 20% craft production to all crafting improvements. And yes, that includes forges. So a general perk is stronger than this thing. And this is not for all buildings, this is just for 3 of them. Yes, the 25% force strength is really something, but only for the 10 turns after declaring a war. And I had it too often in some wars that I didn't even fight enemies after the first 10 turns. It really depends on how you're setting this up. And this is why I'm still willing to give him the B, because that's pretty strong and the rest is okay. Practical sucks though, don't like that. But he is still a B, borderlining to a C though. Hildegard von Bingen, Germany. Sibyl of Rhine, monasteries provide +5 research per turn, +5 health and happiness in each of your cities, wherever your religion is dominant. Pacifist, innovative, mercantile, creative, spiritual. She is clearly a B, because her general perks are really strong. Again, pacifist is like, whatever. But the monasteries provide 5+ research. Keep in mind, you can only build 1 per turn. It's like, it's nice to have. The applies health and happiness in each of your cities where religion is dominant. I think the numbers are too low. There should be at least 10+. Because, yes, you get spiritual, which will help you to spread your religion, and you will focus on that. But this is only like for your cities and nothing else. And it's like, you know, she could be easily an A if they would increase the numbers a little bit, but the rest is really good, and so she is easily a B. Ghana, Golden Protector, Stone Pits and their upgrades provide +1 wealth per turn, 15 force strength within your territory, independent, formidable, agrarian, traditional. She's a C. Unfortunately, I tested this because I wanted to make sure, but Stone Pits and their upgrades provide 1+ wealth. A stone pit cost 1 wealth to keep it running. So basically what you are getting out of this is you don't have to pay for your stone pits. It's not like an additional perk, or it's not an additional bonus you can then increase with percentages and tools and all that. You're literally getting 1 wealth, so your stone pits don't have to pay the money. It's ridiculous. It's bad. 15 force strength within your territory together with formidable is cranking it up to 35 in your capital. But again, you have to be in your territory. That means you're not really aggressive. Yes, you can play around this, and the rest is also not that great. We already established that agrarian is shit. Like, seriously, this is not a good perk. Traditional is like whatever, and the independent is not turning this around. So this is why she is a C. She's just a C. Alexander the Great, Greece, hammer and anvil. Pikemen and lancers cannot be countered. Forces receive 5 bonus XP each turn they are engaged in combat, and when they defeat an enemy force. Disciplined, aggressive, adventurous, resplendent. He is a D. And I would be brutally honest here. If I could, I would actually throw him into an E rank. I would just create its own category for Alexander the Great on how much he is not great. He is bad. Like, pikemen and lancers. Like, this is literally Act 1 stuff. The moment you are leaving Act 1, they become useless. Forces receive 5 bonus XP each turn they are engaged. Oh, wow. Glad that you are not needing sometimes hundreds and hundreds of XP to get into the next level. So this is like, yeah, okay, whatever. And the rest of the perks is just mediocre to shitty. Resplendent sucks. Like, again, Alexander the Great is a clear D. And get the hell out of here, Alexander. Sappho, Greece, 10th Muse. Amphitheaters and theaters provide 15 plus city happiness and have 100% masterpiece creation speed. Coastal region within your cities provide 10 plus prosperity, innovative, charismatic, creative. And she is the last on the first part, and she is an S rank. She is insane. And I wouldn't be surprised if she would be actually one of the first leaders which will get nerfed. Because, yes, you can only build 1 amphitheater and 1 theater, which is 15 happiness. That's nice. But have a 100 masterpiece creation speed. That is absolutely insane. You can create so much prestige because of that. I highly recommend, if you have Sappho in a game as an AI where you are playing on a higher difficulty where they're cheating with the prestige, take her out. Take her out. She will run away with prestige and you will never see her again. Like, she will win this. That's how crazy this perk is. And then every coastal region within your cities provide 10 plus prosperity each. And so if you have water activated, I have a game where I play her right now, and I have like coastal regions in every city, like 5 to 10 coastal region in every city. It's insane how rich I am. I have never seen that much money on my bank account in the game. Like, she is making so much money. She is also innovative and she is creative, which is another prosperity thing. Like, you are rich as hell. You can buy everything. And then you are also creating so many masterpieces that you have so much prestige that nobody is getting close to you. Like, this is why she is an S rank. But with that said, this was a very lengthy first part. We are continuing tomorrow with the second part. I hope you enjoyed this. If you still have some questions or you want to see the tier list again, look down below for all of this. And if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. Also, please don't take it too serious. Again, I'm not a huge fan of tier lists myself. But also, if you enjoyed all of this, you want to see more strategy games and, of course, more Ara History Untold videos, you might want to subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the second part. Till then, have a good one. Bye-bye.